Welcome to a world where health meets absolute truth. This is the journey beyond the ordinary. This is Vital Vibes Unfiltered. We are challenging modern health norms and reclaiming our natural vitality. Bridging ancient holistic wisdom with high-performance living, real practitioners, real science, and zero filters. Prepare to optimize your mind and body. It is time to listen to the rhythm of your own pulse. 5. The peak of your potential is calling. 4. See the truth through the noise. 3. Tap into the frequency of life. 2. Rooted in nature, driven by results. 1. The wait is over. The unfiltered truth starts right now. Vital Vibes Unfiltered. Elevate your existence. Let's dive in.
Hey and welcome guys, this is Jason with Marpe Wellness. Super happy and excited to be here with my friend, Thora Klein. So Thora and I have known each other for a few years now, fellow practitioner doing a lot of the same modalities as we do. And I'm just looking forward to this episode of Vital Vibes Unfiltered with Thora Klein. So Thora's been a wellness practitioner and coach with over 20 years of experience in corporate wellness. Thora is a seasoned practitioner, coach, and leader in the health space. Her journey began with a family-owned global skincare business where she combined corporate experience with a deep spiritual and holistic practice. Thora's mission is to help clients unlock their full healing potential by crafting personalized wellness blueprints, specializing in women's health and disease prevention. She emphasizes natural healing techniques that go beyond quick fixes, focusing on deep, lasting transformation. Together with her husband, Kevin, they offer transformational healing retreats in Coffs Harbour, featuring cutting-edge energy medicine, detox protocols, and renowned non-surgical rejuvenation therapies. These retreats are designed to restore vitality, balance, and perfect circulation through holistic approaches. Thora, welcome to the show, and I'm so excited to talk about vision and eye health and what that has to do with what you have for information to share. Tell me. Let's start. Let's get right into it. What actually got you into this kind of field of work?
Jason, what got me into this field of work? As you said in my bio, I was involved in the natural skincare space for a long time, and then wellness space. And just this absolute, like my father was an incredible visionary and renegade. And, I remember as a little kid, this is really unusual, but, when I was 9 or 10, I used to take his little DVDs or cassettes out of the car, pinch them, put them into my little red tape recorder. Things like Dead Doctors Don't Lie, Alive Doctors Tell the Truth, Stephen Covey, Carnegie, all the, renegades of anything, wellness, personal development, building business, like living, like really, really, and he was so much ahead of his time. So I think that really shaped me, and it gave me a lot of, a feeling that, anything can be really achieved and overcome. And, with this topic today, like the eyes have been my greatest challenge. And, in my journey of healing and my journey of really coming home to myself and building a toolkit for others to be, the most effective, caring, transformational practitioner. But I can really see that, this whole journey of really understanding myself and my body and the world at large, how it's really those early days that really build that foundation and it makes the impossible possible. And, I always say to my clients, if there's circulation and if there's a heartbeat and if there's a will, there's really nothing that can't be transformed. And it's just beautiful to know that, our bodies want to heal. Our bodies have an innate healing potential. And, you know, as a practitioner, what really drives me is to activate, because I've been able to activate that in myself and to be able to activate that in others. And I'm also a root cause practitioner, so I've worked with the Root Cause Institute for a long time. And I can now energetically really feel like when we get to the root of the problem, there's something happens in my body and there's something happens in the client's body, you know, an energy field. And, you know, and as we have, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars of very, very expensive energy medicine healing equipment. But even that doesn't last if we don't really slow down and really understand who are we, why are we here, and what's in the way for us really thriving.
That's awesome. So that kind of leads us into why the eye. Why did we want to talk about the eye today, Thora? I know you've got a story that you want to share because it's incredible.
Yeah. Look, and it's so ironic. You know, I think I'm working with 3 or 4 clients at the moment with really severe eye conditions. And I'm finding that, you know, more and more of those people are coming into the field. So it's quite amazing. It's really, really common. But for myself, I had some severe physical trauma and damage when I was very young, and then had many sort of operations when I was even, I think, 12 and under. And it was really just a fix, but it actually caused a lot of damage to my eyes. And so my eyes have always been a really weak point. Before becoming a wellness practitioner, I was actually a musician. And part of that is like learning, you know, scores and scores of music to be in orchestras. And I've got a Bachelor of Performance, so on the fiddle. So, you know, and my thing is like I could never see. I could never read the notes. So I actually had to memorize everything, you know, work so hard. And what I've really realized around the eyes, like healing of the eyes, is actually the opposite. So the eyes are a sense, a perception, the window to our soul. And the eyes actually need relaxation. They need adaptation. They need nature. So very much the opposite. So look, I really tortured my eyes doing exactly the opposite to what they needed. Yeah, but coming back to the story, so yeah, the eyes have always been a challenge over the years, and it was fixed through surgeries and, you know, all the best, you know, like with all of us, like family members saying you need this surgery and that surgery, and, you know, and I just, because I was so desperate. And it's also, you know, when you can't see, and especially as a woman, it's like your, you know, it's your beauty, it's your connection to the world. Like it was just such a big thing. So I allowed for a long time, even though I knew it wasn't the right thing to honor my body, but I actually sort of was down this, like listening to other people. And then in 2020, during COVID, my beautiful husband booked me a Thai massage on my birthday, and I was lying face down and then went to lie face up, and I had no vision in my right eye at all.
Wow.
So a complete hemorrhage of my right eye. And then went through a bunch of surgeries to save the eye. And, you know, the surgeons were very much like, you know, like this is kind of just exploratory. We don't think this will work. And, you know, and then seeing because I've never been in the medical system besides anything with my eyes. You know, I have 4 children. They have never had a vaccination. They've never had an antibiotic. I've never taken them to McDonald's under my watch, you know. I'm a renegade. I'm like as far away from the system. And then going through these like massive eye centers, multi-million-dollar complexes with all their machines and all their toxic drops, and seeing all these young people and these old people, you know, it was just so eye-opening.
In so many ways.
Many ways. And it's, you know, and it's a mass industry actually. And once you're in there, it's almost impossible to get out. And then I'm very much, because of sort of how natural I am, I wasn't able to. So once you have surgeries and things, they were wanting me to use eye drops, and the tiniest little bit of eye drop, like my eye were like purple, like I've been bashed up, you know, like it just, my body had such a reaction to everything. And then what I did from there is I started really doing my own research beyond, you know, what I had known in the past, and really, yeah, just to understand the structure of the eye, my own. I mean, I kind of knew it in theory, but you know, theory and practice and embodiment are quite, as you know, are quite different.
That's a super valid point you bring up. You know, I've found with the clients that actually take the time to do their own research on that body part and how it mechanically functions, and then how it physically functions, and understanding the muscles, the nervous system, the lymphatic system, the structure itself,
Yeah,
they can they can start envisioning the rehabilitation as I'm doing whatever body work or shockwave therapy there is, or red light therapy or whatever it is, and we explain what it does, and now all of a sudden they can envision, they can visualize the healing going on, which is something we tell people to do the homework and learn this so that you can visualize this and believe that it's happening, because the brain is so powerful. And I mean, I can only imagine with the eyes. You know, if I lost my sight, I'd be freaking out, because it's such a huge sensory that losing sight is probably one of the more devastating sensories to probably lose. So, um, yeah, the fact that you went ahead and did all that, I'm sure that had a major factor on your healing.
yes, yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's so interesting. Like I think the eyes are sort of the organ that we take most for granted. But if we look at the actual like physical biology of the eyes are part of the brain, and it's one of the organs that is most nutrient microcirculation hungry, but it's right at the end of our system of actually it's like the poor little child who gets the crumbs, you know.
So tell me about the nutrients. What kind of nutrients are we talking about?
So, like, so when I talk about nutrients, I mean like lymphatic circulation, I mean microcirculation, innervation to the nerves and things like that. I mean the actual structure of the eye. But when we talk about nutrients, and you know, us as energy practitioners, I think you are very versed in electrical voltage, yeah?
Yeah.
So a healthy cell has a certain voltage, and that voltage means that it's basically, you can go tick, 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 tick. It's got all the things that it's like a measurement of optimal charge, power, performance. And the things that get in the way is like when the body becomes acidic, when there's chronic inflammation, when then the tissue becomes diseased and starts breaking down. Yeah?
Makes sense. Yeah. And I mean, the acidity, that's huge. That's one of the first things we look at with clients
Yeah.
is alkaline versus acidic, the pH level of the person. Because if you are an acidic, not you're an acidic person, but your body's acidic, it's really difficult for the body to heal in an acidic environment. We need the body to be in an alkaline environment in order for it to heal. And I mean, I'm sure you can too. You can sense that they're alkaline or acidic before they walk through the door, as they walk.
100%, 100%. It's, you know, it's their breath, it's the way they smell, it's all this stuff, and it's like, you know, if you, it's a little bit like when you leave an apple in the fruit bowl too long, it starts to rot and to decompose, and basically when the body becomes acidic, it starts to degenerate very, very, very quickly. It loses, because of the cellular voltage, it loses oxygen potential, it no longer is nourished by the nutrients supplied by the blood and all those things, and then starts breaking down. And, you know, and one of the really, really large things that I was never aware of is the level of stress, which was stored in my body, actually trauma, emotional disturbance. And that for me to actually sort of come to that it's like when I understood that, and it's like, the physical thing is one thing, but I never actually dealt with the root cause. And yeah.
And that's key. I mean, I know you as well. That's your main focal point nowadays is, doctors, they love to prescribe medications or surgery, stuff like that, based on symptoms. I have not heard of more than a few doctors who are actually trying to figure out what the root cause of the problem is. I just spoke to a client this morning that 3 cortisone shots, and the doctor's like, "Well, we got to go for surgery now because
Yeah,
this cortisone's not working." Like the cortisone is creating a more acidic environment,
that's right.
and we're not dealing with the root cause of what's causing the pain and the trauma in the area. And so that's where we come in, and we were addressed to discover what the root cause was, and then put a protocol together for the healing and the rejuvenation or regeneration of
Yeah.
the body. So with root cause with the eye, what stems to be the root cause typically with eye or vision issues?
So it's stress, it's psycho-emotional trauma disturbances, and the eyes are the psycho-emotional aspect is like the way we perceive the world.
Explain that deeper if you could.
So the way it's like our connection to the world and the felt sense, and that can be safe, that can be loving, that can be harmonious, that can be nurturing us, or it can be scary, fear-based, turning inside.
Okay.
And so, and the eyes are like our sensory perception, always getting like, how our whole energy body does it, but the eyes are like without us even realizing what's happening, they're just sensing our environment all of the time.
That's interesting. So let's say there's a person that seems to have like a negative attitude about everything, or not everything, but a lot of stuff around them. It's just, there's always this negative energy coming off of them. How does that relate to the vision problems, or does it?
I think it would. I mean, I'm not a negative person, but I can relate to a client that I saw last week. She was very. She had a traumatic event happen 2 years ago, and she was referred by a really beautiful client of ours. And she's like, she was so like nothing can help, nothing can heal. She was an energy medicine practitioner. She wasn't, and it was just like stop and feel your body, and it was that. And even while she was, and we did all the things about like the lifestyle habits, the red light therapy, the clapping, the hot and cold water, the microcirculation, detoxifying her. There were issues with her liver and her gut, detoxifying that. But she was so invested in what had happened to her, and that she was just so blocked up in herself, like this belief that she was, and when she came, like her eyes were really closed, and she couldn't even like really look at me. And and sometimes I too, as a practitioner, and you would know that too, like I'm like holding my breath. Can I really help this person? But I mean the message I got from her a few days later, she had the biggest breakthrough and the biggest release, and she referred 20 clients to us, and like it's just, but it's like knowing, I think, as practitioners, and I see it in the industry for so often, and I've experienced it over my, over 20 years. I've gone to the most amazing like iSpa international conferences and all these things, and the practitioners don't practice what they preach. And I think for us as practitioners, and I'm not 100%, I'm not a saint, Jason, but as I get to know myself and honor myself, like I know what the line is, yeah?
Yeah.
And it's like our health account is like a credit or debit account.
Yeah.
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 And so, you know, and so an interaction with me as a practitioner can activate a client's health, like this woman, very quickly into credit. But then, you know, the treatment is the first bit. It's the integration. It's the things that she actually, and she got it. She obviously really got it. Yeah. And now she, you know, we with her, we're dealing with detoxification. We're dealing with really alkalizing her diet, making sure that she gets the nutrients, and but really keeps opening up. You know, she's had so much tightness and tension around both eyes. You know, when I did the rejuvenation body work, and you know that as a practitioner, it was just all crunchy. You know, the calcification, the build-up was quite probably the only eye I've ever seen that is in my own eye. You know, it was so severe. So what I've done is I've opened up the river of life. She's had a massive emotional release, and she has like tapped into her own body healing potential. But it's like if I hadn't gone there first and haven't had that experience, you know, it's like, you know, I know a lot of practitioners we work with, they have like a cancer diagnosis that they survive and things like that. Like for me, it's like, you know, thank goodness it wasn't that, it was my eyes. But, you know, being really embodied in that, I think was super helpful. So, yeah, so with her, and so we're looking at, you know, time away from, she was on her phone all the time, and blue light, radiation, and this non-native way in which we operate. Our eyes weren't designed to stare at a screen like we're having this beautiful conversation at the moment. And there's actually techniques which I recommend to my clients, and because I have this awareness with myself, it's like, you know, there's really simple techniques we can do. Like we are meant to blink all the time. And when we're driving in a car, when we're looking at screens, we don't blink. So our eyes' natural healing, regenerating, lubrication doesn't work. And then the eyes also need, and we live on this beautiful farm, I'm looking out. So it's really important that, so we take a break from the screen and we look out for 20 seconds and then we come back. And if you can do that every 15 to 20 minutes, that it's like exercising the eyes. It's like giving your windows to the soul some energy, like to just actually activate what it does naturally, what it needs naturally.
And that makes such good sense, because think about it, like, yeah, just turning your eyes out the window just for a few seconds, you know, it's not going to be the end of the world that I stop looking at you and during this and just look outside for a few seconds. You can feel that energy rejuvenate you. You can feel it in the eyes even, because, yeah, I've been staring at the screen for a while today. And so,
and you know, and do you think my fancy eye surgeons, which is like just a basic consultation, it's like $550 a pop, where you get nothing except, you know, toxic drops and whatever, and it's just you go through their machine. They never said, you know, like it's just never. And towards the end, my doctor he said, oh, do you think your green juice and your energy medicine and your meditation, do you think that's going to, you know? And he basically asked me never to come back, because I was just, you know, I was asking questions, and then my husband asked him, because I had this allergic reaction to these eye drops and these procedures. He said, well, what's the normal percentage of? And he said it was like 58% of people have a reaction, like a chronic reaction to this. Wouldn't that be nice to know that first?
Yeah, and that's key, right? Because people don't ask enough questions. They give authority away so easily.
Yes.
To the most important thing we have, which is our health.
Mm-hmm.
And so, talk to me about the detox, because, you know, detox gets thrown around a whole bunch. We hear it all the time too, and we sell it all the time too, is we need to detox. But detox comes in different forms and fashions. What kind of detox are you talking about in this case with the eyes?
I mean, the main, I think the main elements for the eyes is like the eyes are really connected to our digestive system and to our liver. The liver is actually the corresponding organ.
Okay.
And I don't know if you have the same experience, but most of the clients I deal with, the work I deal with, like liver is a problem.
Oh, yeah.
And so when it comes to detox, really making sure that the gut is working properly, we're eliminating properly, and then at the same time, like the eye is very nutrient dependent. So as we're detoxing, making sure that we have really living, simple living, high vibrational foods that the body can, we're taking the stress level down, but the body can assimilate that. And that can be in the way of like greens, either you juice or there's beautiful powders, like really holistic formulations of powders these days, but really making sure that those things are in place. That way that high like mitochondria nutritional need of the eye is taken care of while we're just gently detoxing the body. And it's like, heavy metals, parasites, just the usual suspects. And also, cleansing and fasting. I know you're a big proponent of fasting, and just really cleaning out. It's like I find it amazing. We service our cars and we do all these other things, but we just don't actually, our body is this living organism. It's just this one vehicle, this skin suit we're given, and it's, the body needs that more than our the cars we drive around in. So so really and it's not, it's like everyone is different. Like everyone, if someone has a kind of a functioning digestive system, then we can go more easier into fasting and those things. But if someone is really backed up, we need to get the peristalsis, we need to get the gut moving, we need to do those things first. But, things like, we know that the Celsonic, for example, is very effective for the liver, or we use coffee enemas with binders, things like that. But it's, the detoxification, and then it's so improving nutrition and reducing inflammation. So, part of detoxification is like, so often I find people, they're like cleansing and cleansing and cleansing, but they're still having, white bread and sugar and alcohol, and do you know what I mean? They're still putting things in. So really part of detoxification. And I love to work with people over 3 months. So the first month is like cleaning up their field, getting to know the body and the ecosystem with all the irritants, all the things that we normally and the second month is like really deep detoxification, which is specifically around what someone is dealing with. And then the third month is integration. So really understanding integration, optimization, because we're all different. We all have different blood types. And, and I used to be very, my training is plant-based. And I used to be very, set in this way. But especially now, we have a lot of clients with stage 3 and 4 inflammation that come to us, and they're very much invested. They might be on a keto or a paleo or a bud week protocol or something like that. So like it's not one thing for everyone. And so it's really understanding, what are our unique body's needs? How can I, like, what's in the way to living and functioning and digesting optimally? So another really big thing is chronic infections. And, because once again, and especially chronic dental infections, because the eyes will be affected by anything like that. So dealing with those things and using a good holistic dentist, and just to really making sure there's not, root canals, there's not infected teeth and things like that. So dental health is so important for the different meridian points and the different aspects of the body, that's functioning properly.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I just wanted to touch on a couple of things you'd mentioned about dealing with the food choices and eating a more alkaline diet. I'm just going to throw this in here. So for anybody who reaches out directly to me from this podcast, I have a whole body healing food guide that we've created, and I'll share it with everybody. It breaks it down between alkaline, acidic, and neutral foods in like the fruits, the vegetables, the starches, the proteins, the wheats and grains, everything, beverages even. So it's quite detailed, and I'm willing to share that with anybody who reaches out to me saying food guide. Just put food guide in there, and I will message you back to your email address and forward you a free food guide that can help you to understand the alkaline versus acidic foods, so that you can start healing your body not just for eye vision, but for overall body health. Um, Chronic infections. I mean, yeah, the dental is definitely huge, and it affects the whole body. But I mean, you and I both see clients all the time with chronic issues going on elsewhere, and it all
Yeah.
does come back to the gut in 90%, 95% of the cases, and the health of the gut. So
Mhm.
tell me a little bit more on the gut health and how that relates to the eyes, and what are some of the things people can do to improve their eye health by what do they have to work on in their gut?
So if the gut is compromised, and especially if digestion or assimilation in the small intestine is compromised, the way nutrients are given from the small intestine into the body is like we have these villi that sort of it's kind of floating, and they're when the food is given to the body in the small intestine, it's like an enzymatic enzyme process. It's a really cool energy exchange that happens. And the gut lining, the villi, has to be intact for that to happen optimally. And what I'm finding, I'm finding that a lot of clients, especially with chronic inflammation and like even like, like, I mean, it's, whether, it's eyes or lymphatics or things like, the they have really low iron, they have really low absorption rate if you have a look at their blood tests. And if their hemoglobin, if that exchange, if those nutrients aren't optimized in that exchange process, doesn't matter what you put into the system, if that isn't healed, and it's like stress, it's toxins, it's antibiotics, it's all the things that destroy that gentle, the lining of the gut is the organ that is the most quickest to repair. But it needs a different environment, because if you keep putting the shit in and the inflammation, like the fire's burning, there's no way it's going to have enough of a rest. And that's why like fasting and even intermittent fasting. And, and with fasting, what I'm finding is people just create so much more of an awareness of, what are kind of instinctually, what are we addicted to? What are our food cravings? What are our bad habits? Like fasting, for me, is like a really good way to kind of get the, what's actually going on, to have a little break and then to have a level of awareness. And then you and I know there's some amazing nutraceuticals and some amazing products on the market. And, I'm not about like, fixing it with a product, but, using science and technology and using nutraceuticals in a really smart, intelligent way, we can just speed up and really optimize the body's healing potential. And, and when we take the inflammation out, when we heal the gut, then through that mechanism, the body will go where the healing is needed most. I've seen that again and again and again. And sometimes someone might come for something completely different. They're like, wow, I've had this back pain or had this discomfort in this area. Like it's absolutely improved. And, there's 70 trillion cells, as Zach Bush says. I'm a massive fan of Zach Bush. I like, they're all dancing this amazing game in harmony. And it's and it's like the gut is the is the lowest common denominator. Like there's inflammation in that area. It's really our weakest link. And so to take care of that, and it's so it's so with all the information there's like the one we have so little control in most of our lives. There's wars, there's all these things going on, but we do have control of everything we eat, we drink, and we think. Yeah. And I think that's really profound. There's information overload, but nobody's doing it, Jason. And so what I teach is really simple principles of self-care, self-awareness. And, every morning, like I have beautiful morning rituals. I call them body medicine that I teach my clients, and very specific to what's going on. But more than anything, I just really ask them to put a hand on the heart and hand off the belly. And it's like, what does my body need today? What's the one thing I can really do to support my body? Knowing that we've taken care of, eating highly dense nutrient food, not having the irritative things, and, and healing happens, fast healing happens in a regulated nervous system. It's not keeping running and doing the same shit we've done, but it's like, let's slow down. Less is more. You know, in the like 5-10 years ago, I used to load up my clients with $1,000 to $3,000 worth of nutritional supplements. You know, it was like this game of like, but that stuff doesn't work if we're not home in our body and if we're connected to ourselves and source and spirit and, you know, whatever the orientation is. So less is more. It's about slowing down. Why do we do what we do and what results are we trying to get? And then I say to my clients, like, you are the test. When you wake up in the morning, how you feel. And then, you know, but take note of it. You know, what we can't measure, we have no idea if it's working or not. Like, take responsibility for your life. You know, I had this beautiful woman I've been working with for quite a while, and she sort of rang me in a huff and a puff on Thursday, and she was just absolutely beside herself. And I'm like, are you doing your morning ritual? Are you doing your meditation? Are you making your juice? Are you doing, oh, no. I said, look, these are the things for the next week. You know, it's just going back to basics. And then I get a, message from her yesterday. She's so much better and so much, but it's just like the little things, you know, and I was really, really lucky. I was brought up by very Germanic parents, learning to practice a little instrument young, like it was not an option to do that. So I learned like that the biggest act of self-love is actually discipline. And discipline isn't very popular these days, yeah? There's victimitis, there's doing it halfway and, you know, doing it the way we've always done it, expecting a different result. And it's just, you know, and then even like the clients that we work with now, you know, I don't work with everybody, Jason. Like if I don't know that they're going to meet me at least halfway, you know, my capacity as a practitioner isn't, I'm not in my genius zone. If I have to worry, if I'm fighting their demons and fighting their questioning mind, like you know, life is so short. We are moving so fast. And like you, I know you're very driven as well, to make a difference. You know, like I really want to make a difference in this time around, the biggest impact that I can. And, you know, that's, yeah.
Yeah. So I love that because it is about getting back to the basics and taking care of yourself first and foremost. You know, what are the basics, in your opinion? What are the things everybody needs to do to not just for eye health but overall health?
Yeah. So really understanding what foods nourish the body, I think that's really important. And then I mean for all of our health, but especially for eye health, it's just really understanding the vitamins and the minerals that the body needs specifically. And there's, you know, that's kind of simple to address. Hydration, really good hydration is so important. Yeah, drinking really clean, structured water. And I'm not talking about structuring tap water. I'm talking really good quality. You know, you and I think, really work with the Kangen water system, which is the most incredible antioxidant-rich, microstructured water in the world. It's like living water. And what happens is, like, when we have living water and it meets a living cell, those two can actually dance together. So the water can optimize detoxification, hydration, antioxidants, regeneration, you know, cellular vitality, integrity, voltage, and even charge, like build the charge of the cell. A cell can't operate without that. And that's so important.
That's one of the things I always tell all our clients is, imagine every cell in your body is like the battery in your car.
Yeah.
And the battery is not going to work if there's no hydration in the battery. And so how can you expect your body to do anything for you if the batteries are dry?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And another really important thing is, you know, we have the physical things taken care of, but the emotional nervous system regulation. And we're so overstimulated, you know, we're so overstimulated. And we see, like, if a gazelle is chased on the African plains and is nearly captured by a lion, afterwards it shakes off all the stress and it's gone in the body, yeah? And we need to learn to take care of ourselves like that. Really important.
And that's what I find the body work does, is quite often I'm working on a client first, second, third time when their body's finally ready to let their defenses down,
Yeah.
gotten away from that lion, that cheetah that's chasing them, and they can finally relax a little bit. This body work that we're doing, it'll actually get to the emotional issues. It'll be somewhat painful in some cases, but all of a sudden their body will start quivering,
Yes.
or they'll emotionally release. And it's wild. It's I can't even explain it. It's I've had clients give me testimonials and they can't even, do it justice, but it's not until you experience it for yourself. And I've had grown adult men that have said, I've never cried in my life. And
Yeah.
within 25 minutes, I've got them bawling like a 2-year old. And they don't know what happened. And I'm like, just
Yeah.
stop thinking and just listen to your heart rate now and just let it be, let it happen. And it's some of the most profound. And again, it's hard to explain. It's profound, but also it's like rebirthing themselves, where they're coming out a different person. And so talk to us a little bit about that what you guys do, your protocols, because you guys do retreats mostly, right? Where people come and they stay with you for a little while, and so their focus that whole time is on their healing. What does that look like that you do with them? What's a regular day?
Yeah. So what that looks like, and and we found over distance and time, like people coming for like for half a day appointment, or even just for the hour, like it's we are able to impact them in a way, but because like it's like when you see someone over 3-8 hours, they can't keep up the acting game. Yeah. And so by having people live with us residentially, and we have a beautiful practice at the beach, at Vela Beach, and it's like from the minute they rise to when they close their eyes, we are with them. And it's like, really as practitioners, Kevin and I, we hold the field. And our 14-year-old daughter, Grace, which we homeschool, she's actually she's the personal chef now. So she's all the fruit prep, all the juicing, all the collect. She's just absolutely amazing. And the coolest thing is she earns like $50 a day, and she just thinks she's the coolest, wealthiest little 14-year-old. Isn't that so cool?
That is awesome.
Yeah, but coming back to that, so a typical day looks like when they get up, they have a hot lemon and cayenne pepper drink. And then we send them off to a beach walk. Then they come back, and then they have an infrared sauna and an ice bath.
Nice.
Yeah. And
what's the purpose of these as well? So what's the purpose of the walk?
So like walking, we know, is like that right left brain is probably if you ask me what's the most important thing to maintain health, I would say you go for a walk in nature every day. Without your phone, without, just you and yourself in nature. Nature will recalibrate.
Yes.
Connect into our divine nature. Nature will heal and recalibrate us. So, and then the infrared sauna. So the infrared sauna penetrates the layers of the skin where microcirculation, detoxification, where all of those things occur. So it actually activates blood circulation, detoxification, and infrared is 80% toxins and 20% fluid, rather than like a traditional, like a Swedish sauna or something like that. So very specifically, and they've done this, like they've, tested, like for example, we have lots of spraying in the sky, which I'm sure you have there as well. Yep. And they've actually tested people's, there's a lot of research on this now, actually toxins out of the sauna, infrared sauna, it'll be relative to what's in the environment. So we know this is really effective. And, like Dr. Klinghardt, who was a visionary really in our time when it comes to electromagnetic stuff, detoxification and disease prevention, he actually says if to live well, we need to have at least 3 infrared saunas to stay healthy a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what if you don't have access to an infrared sauna?
So there's lots of places in every city and every town now where they have gorgeous little like kind of spa facility. They have sauna, ice bath, they have cryotherapy, they have massage, they have, you know, like there's a lot of places you can go. Or a lot of my clients, they like either end up buying like a little tent or even a blanket, or with an infrared sauna. You know, you can buy them on Facebook Marketplace, sometimes for $500, like $7,000 sauna for $500 because people don't use it. So, you know, and then that's the other thing we really teach our clients, like make your home a health zone. And most of our clients, like you can see the vibrational plate behind me there, they end up purchasing a vibrational plate, a rebounder, a sauna, you know, these things, sometimes even an ice bath. And it's just activates healing really quick, and then it becomes a way of, you know, they're doing those things is as important as eating, I believe, like nourishing our body. It's really, really important. So yeah, and especially for, you know, so we have the infrared sauna and the ice bath, and it really activates microcirculation. And coming back to the eyes, such an important thing. Yeah. And then after that, depending on what program they're on, but most of our clients, and we use also the AO scan, which I know you're very familiar with, which allows us a bird's eye view of actually what's happening in someone's body. Their blood circulation, the lymphatic circulation, the nerve innervation, the muscle tissue, all the things, like all the pipes, the highway of life or river of death, it's right there in front of us. So it's a fantastic tool for me as a practitioner to be really able to focus and to potentize what we are doing. And it changes, you know, too, like it changes in real time all the time. To actually show the client that, you know, it's not we don't use it as a diagnostic, it's an educational tool. It's kind of like it's what's happening in real time. And often that can be super confronting. You know, I've had so many people I see, and their the veins in their head, and especially with eyes, they might be like 58% from optimal, you know, or the capillaries. And I'm like, wow, I'm so happy you came to see me right now. You know, like it's like, you know.
Yeah, that AO scan, we use it on all of our clients. It's part of our initial analysis with the client to help us discover what the root cause is of their issues. And it helps us to put a protocol together for our clients. We try to not incentivize, but push people to purchase a subscription themselves, so you can do this scan and optimize yourself every single day. And I mean, that's so important because it's not just for practitioners, it's for anybody. And being able to know what's going on with your body and what your body needs on a daily basis, not just with the supplements and the nutraceuticals, but the nutrition. Like, it's so valuable that it can help reverse all sorts of ailments and inflammation in your body just by simply scanning and optimizing daily, and then knowing what foods to stay away from. Yeah, I can't speak highly enough of it. So what else do you guys do there?
Okay, so the next thing, and I'm just going to pick up this book. We do external counterpoint therapy, which is known as the cardio med bed. So after the sauna ice bath, if someone has, like, for example, if someone's coming to us for the eyes or microcirculation or the sea monster or anything like that, the cardio med bed is really important. And we started actually doing it twice a day. So after that sauna ice bath experience, they would have a juice, as freshly made juice, and the juice is very specific to what's going on with them. So like might be like with beef, like with this is very specific. Then they're with the cardio med bed with Kevin for an hour. And then we have a little bit of rest of integration, and then we do the body medicine. The body medicine are exercises, tools, which I teach them, like lymphatic system circulation, muscle optimization, flexibility, you know, like it's whatever's going on. And my background is actually in personal training and effective movement training. So, and I'm also a certified yoga teacher. And so it's, you know, it's just really just, it's just, we just have fun and get into our bodies, and then finish off with a really deep, profound meditation and visualization. And then it's, depending on the time, sometimes there'll be a beautiful blender drink in the middle of that. And then there's lunch. And after lunch, we normally have a little rest. And then after the little rest, I do the cell-sonic treatment and then the body work session.
Okay.
And then, decide, like, and then it's, whether they have a root core session, it might be at this time, or they might be back with Kevin with a cardio med bed, and then dinner, and then a root core session, and often there'll be like a practice or an exercise at night. I love music, I love art therapy, and it's just kind of reflecting, just using all those different kind of getting out of our heads into our body, in our creative energy, into our life force, and playing like children too, becoming very childlike.
Nice. I like that. So, I mean, they're going the whole day.
It's a healing marathon, my friend. It's just they're like, whew, and so often when we have because at the end, and what's really beautiful, like I ask my clients, like very, very, like we're looking in the eye, and we do a session at the beginning to really understand their really why they're there, what they're there to, what they want the outcome to be, very much an intention based. And at the end, I finish a closed circle, which is just really me and them eye to eye. It's like, how was your experience? What the highlights, what the lowlights, what touched you the most? What was the scariest? What was most transformational? And is there anything else we could have done to improve your healing journey? In prior service, did we miss anything? And it's like, and it's so beautiful. Like, it's just the last few ones, I think we're really nailing it, because the last few ones, they're just said, look, there's nothing else you could have done, But I have had a few people that in reflection, after a week, I do an integration call. They say, what I'd love to do next time, I'd love to come, because I'm feeling so much better, but I'd love to do half the program. Because you've opened me up like a can opener. You've opened me up. I need less to go deeper and to get more, which is really, and we have a lot of repeat clients.
And that's what I was going to ask next is, so what is the post? So after they come and they do the week-long or 3-day long with you, what happens next?
So what happens next is they get a really personally tailored, detailed healing plan, integration plan, when they go back to their lives. And, some people I hear from a lot. Like, I had a check-in with a beautiful lady on Thursday. She was with us maybe 5-6 weeks ago. And you know what? She has let a business go. She has let things go that was her root cause. Like, she has actually said, I gave back my keys on Thursday. She has really honored herself and cleaned up her life. Yeah.
That is so, like, people don't recognize how precious life and health is, and how difficult it is to get back if it's so far out of reach.
Absolutely, Jason. And like my passion, I love everybody, but my passion is really working with women. And I've lived probably about 3 or 4 lives in this lifetime, and really holding space for women. And we have the most heartbreaking conversations. And with the root cause principle, there's repression. Repression is like when we're children, we're shut down, we're on operating, we're kind of in survival. And repression will make a body, a system very hard over time. It'll stop us from feeling, being alive, sensing the world. And then there's suppression. And, there's so much research now, like every energy system in the body, every organ system has a voltage and a chemical structure. And when we feel an emotion, there's a chemical reaction, and then the cell actually changes. Yeah. And so, we have this conversation, and I've had women like with breast cancer, for example, saying, wow, when I talk about this, it's really aching. It's really aching. It's really aching. And then it's like, what do you think? Like, just tune into your breast, tune into yourself. Like, what do you need to go? What is the consequence of hanging on and keeping doing what you're doing? And it's just like, these are the discussions. We cry, we weep, we laugh. It's just just, but it's like unwinding sometimes lifetimes and even, like karmic stuff that isn't even ours. It's like from intergenerational, we carry the energetics of like 7 generations before us. And, I always say to my clients, it's up to you how deep you want to go, how like I've seen everything. Yeah. I'm here for all of it. And, because of my own journey and my dedication to this work, I've also learned like I care so deeply, but I take nothing personally anymore. Like the rescuer, I came from this real rescuing thing. I can hold someone's pain. I can be the witness. I can be the mirror. I can be the portal of an opening, a changing of actually them seeing the actual reality of what's going on. And that awareness, that actually knowing and owning and being witnessed by another. And this healing can't happen by ourselves. And I've had the most incredible practitioners and therapists and, like hold space for me in the most unthinkable times and through the most difficult, traumatic subjects. And, and I think especially with, this whole kind of stress and polarity and masculine, feminine, all these things, like really at the core, like who are we when we're centered in self? And a woman especially has to be centered in herself and not sort of disowned or, just like really feel herself. Like a woman has to feel every part of herself to be healthy environment. And I know that, married to a beautiful man. And I know that's the same for men, because otherwise we're operating from our wounds. We're kind of sliding through life in suffering.
Right.
And especially, coming back to the eyes and our connection with self. Like it's like sometimes we have to go through the fire and, I feel like I've died 1,000 deaths, even in the last 2 years, like to really understand, it's just like for the first time, like my therapist said 2 years ago, he said, my psychotherapist, he said, look, you're finally healing. You're finally you're coming into wholeness.
Beautiful.
After 5 years of working together. And this is the thing, and it's like, and I know you get it, I can, feel it in your energy. And I think that's, and that's why we need to surround ourselves with people. And, like we cannot do it alone. And by working with a practitioner, by working with a mentor, by working with a coach, we are actually fast tracking that. And we're like quantum shifting where we would be frailing in the trenches ourselves, sometimes a lifetime of, and so many women and men we work with, they're like in their 60s and their 70s, and they finally realize it's just about them and choosing themselves, and then like how do we rectify a whole lifetime of suffering and not knowing? And it's just, it's another conversation, but it's just like, in the simplicity of it all, we can look at lifestyle, we can look at our environment, we can look at relationships, we can look at those things, but it's like the daily practices, the daily rituals, the daily connections within, and just knowing that every breath, every moment, every meal, every conversation, I can actually choose which part of myself I bring to that.
That's perfect. And there's, in today's world, everything's so busy and rush, and I gotta go, gotta work, gotta make money, all this stuff, gotta take care of everybody else first. And people don't put themselves as a priority. I just want to wrap up because I want to be cognizant of
please.
time here. Tell me, what is the ideal client for you, or what, somebody who is looking for help, what would that look like for you?
Oh, Jason, that's a really broad question, because I get someone from toe fungus to eye problems to losing their hair to gut dysbiosis to hip degeneration to breast cancer to prostate cancer to it's really, I think it's more like a man or a woman who is really ready to take responsibility for their health and their healing journey, and who is curious and has, in a way, a beginner's mind, and who is just very open to knowing themselves, opening to, some of the things we do are pretty radical, right? Some of the things we offer. And it's like, and someone who can trust us to, we don't take what we do lightly. We see it, we're very committed. And I don't, there's, both Kevin and I, like, it's a huge responsibility in a way. We're operating kind of outside the monopoly, and we don't take what, and with that also, like, we have all of our skin in our game, like all of the skin in the game, financially, emotionally, everything, right? This is it for us. And so it's really the client who is ready to really put everything in for them. So, like, really commit everything for their healing.
That's perfect, because I always struggle with that too, because we do so much of the same type of work. It's like, how do you put all of this into this? And it comes down to the client needs to want it as bad, if not more, than what we want it for them. And we want it bad for them. Me, I'm a competitive person, and I'm all about winning. And when you come to be a client of ours, you're on my team, and we need to win. And so I need you to pull your end of your weight in the program.
I love that.
We can't win unless both of us are fighting the same fight.
So,
Thora, this has been awesome. If people want to reach out to you and maybe come to one of your retreats, or just learn some more about how you can help them out, how can they contact you?
So the best way is through our website, which is www.infinitevitality.org. And it's infinite, not infinite, NATE. And on that, I have a initial contact form, and you just fill out that form as just your name, your number, kind of what you're dealing with, what you love, support, and help with, and then I'll reach out to you. It's on my priority email list. I'll reach out to you. We have a conversation, and then it's like we dance. We work out whether we can dance together. Like, the chemistry has to be right.
Perfect.
The healing chemistry has to be online or not. And it's just, and it's just really about, it's, what we do isn't for everyone.
Right.
But if you choose to jump in, like, we will meet you wherever you're at and do whatever needs to be done to live, like, healthy, vital, and free in our bodies. Because, like, to be absolutely healthy and vital is our birthright. And it's the normal state of being. And that's why we're so driven to do what we're doing.
That's fantastic. And I'm going to put that link to your website in the show notes, as well as my own. So we are Jason and Melissa from Marpe Wellness in Airdrie, Alberta. And if you need access to Thora and you can't get a hold of her, reach out to me. I know she'll get back to you as quickly as she can. She's a busy lady as well. Or if there's something else you're looking for that maybe we didn't touch on in this episode, but I might have another practitioner with different modalities that can help you out, reach out to me. You can either call me at 403-200-3133 or email us through our website at marpewellness.ca. Thora, thank you so much for this. I appreciate it. I can't wait to have you back, because we can talk about stuff forever. So we'll definitely do this again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jason. And I just really, I love what you and Melissa do. And it's just walking this path together. It's an absolute honor. So thank you.
Thank you. Take care, everyone. And we will see you again very soon. Bye-bye.